through 3.3, so still in Module 3, the English colonies, but this time we're dealing with the middle colonies. So we're talking about the central location here. You can see in red, so the ones that are in the middle, between the New England colonies and the southern colonies. Remember, if you take notes, you are going to be allowed to use those notes on not only this quiz, but also for the test on October 8th. It's coming up next Thursday. So we're getting pretty close to that. When you look at school days, you're looking at 9 school days away before your chapter 3 test. So English colonies 3.3. And it starts off talking about and dealing with New York and New Jersey. So remember that New York is not going to start that way. It was actually going to start as New Netherland. The Dutch establish New Netherland in 1613. You don't need to know the date, but they set it up to be a trading post. They're going to trade fur with the Iroquois, and it does very successfully. They set up New Netherland, and then New Amsterdam is going to be the main city that they have throughout New Netherland. As time goes through, so they set that up in 1613. But what will end up happening is the English are going to want to make sure that they control all lands on the Atlantic coast. So eventually, the King of England is going to want to take over New Netherland. He sends a fleet of English ships. And eventually, without even firing a shot, we're able to capture New Netherland. We rename it New York, and we rename the main the main city of New Amsterdam. We name that New York City. So, New York colony and New York City originally started with the Dutch because of they wanted to trade fur. Right, they were just set up for trading fur. The other colony that they talk about here in New Jersey is going to be set up originally by Cartier and Berkeley. So it's going to be just across the river, just south of New York. As you can see here, this is New York here. New Jersey is just south. You can actually see New York City in New Jersey. It's just across the Hudson River. And so Cartier and Berkeley are going to set up New Jersey. The other colonies in the middle colonies are Penn and Delaware. Pennsylvania and Delaware. Pennsylvania is going to be this little, as soon as this black bar drops right where my arrow was, and you can see the red arrow pointing it. That is going to be Delaware, and Delaware is going to be a part of Pennsylvania all the way up until 1776. But you can see Pennsylvania up here. Is going to be a fairly large colony. And we get into that. We set up William Penn sets up Pennsylvania because he wants to provide a safe haven or a safe home for Quakers. He is one of the proprietors. He's one of the people inside of New Jersey. And as he is trying to find a place for upstairs, as he's setting up and trying to find a place for a safe place for Quakers, the king says that he can have the land west of New Jersey, which ends up being Pennsylvania. Now, one of the best things, or one of the things that makes the Quakers not liked, is that they believed in equality between men and women before God. So men and women should be equal. They believed in nonviolence. They didn't think that you should just start with violence. They didn't believe in slavery either. And so there's a lot of traits that in our world today we just kind of almost take for granted in a belief system. But the Quakers were believing this in the 1600s, and they were being persecuted for this. They were being thrown in jail. They were losing their jobs, being fined, and Penn wanted that safe place for them to be. As Penn sets up his colony, One of the things that's impressive as well about him is that he's actually going to limit his own power. And we've talked about this in class quite a bit, but people in power tend to do everything they can to keep power. Penn limits his own power, and he actually starts to provide a chance for people to have more power. And he sets up an example of a representative government, kind of like similar to what we have today, where people are able to choose others to represent them. And then they go to into the government and make choices for the colony as a whole at that time. And today, that's what we do with the United States and each of the state colonies or state governments. And so Penn is quite a different character than what we've talked about, and in general, just a different character in general because of limiting his own power. Now, when we look at the way people in the middle colonies were making money, that they were it was one of the most important, or the most important part of the economy in the middle colonies is staple crops, or are staple crops. Staple crops are wheat, barley, and oats. I know it's really hard to tell the difference between these, but you can see it's a long grass type of field, and that's what we're looking at when we talk about wheat and barley, and then oats. You can think of think of Quaker Oats. That's part of the reason why they come up with the brand name of Quaker Oats, right? But these are staple crops. They're always needed. Now, one of the things when we get to that, we'll talk about slaves on that next slide. But there's not the massive labor force need for the staple crops. So we're going to see a different type of job market inside of the middle colonies, because it is combining New England and southern colonies kind of ideals when we talk about trade and crops. But the most important part for them are the staple crops. Now, women play a key role in the middle colonies as well. Women are always a key part of the economy, of the government, of life. But here what we start to see is women having more economic opportunities than in the other colonial groups. So women are going to end up running farms and businesses. They're going to practice medicine. They're going to be nurses, nurses or midwives, and they're going to be indentured servants. And so you do start to see women having more of a role and more of an economic impact than what you do in New England and in the southern colonies. So this starts to become a bigger deal, because as women have more economic power and say so, they start to have more power in the house, and eventually that starts to give them more say in what's going on, which is more that idea of equality, which shouldn't be surprising that this is in the middle colonies when you're talking about Pennsylvania. Now, the type of jobs that people would have, like I said, you do see skilled crafts like what we see in the New England area. But we also do see the farming as well. We will use slaves and indentured servants in the middle colonies, but indentured servants are going to be much more used than in the South. They have more slaves than in the New England colonies, but most of the workforce are indentured servants, and so we see different types of jobs going on. Now, the trade that we're doing, we do actively trade with Britain and the West Indies. So remember, we have Britain, or the United Kingdom, Great Britain, England, however you want to think of that. And then the West Indies. Remember, these are the islands south of Florida. So we're trading not only with our own colonies, we're trading with Britain, we're trading with the West Indies. The thing that we are not doing really, though, is we are not trading with France and Spain. Remember, Britain, France, and Spain are not necessarily friends at that time. And so most of our trade, or all of our trade, is going to be with the friendly nations. I know this is a very short, this was a very, very short section. This is a very short lecture. I'm actually already done with it. And so use these notes, not only for the quiz today, but also use them for setting up your notes for the test that's on October 8th, so next Thursday. So let's be smart about doing our notes and taking care of our business. And good luck. Hopefully you do well on Kahoot, do well on the quiz, and and we'll talk to you guys later.